It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and once again, we'll be discussing the topic of food insecurity. We started talking about that on Monday's podcast with Captain Tim North of the Salvation Army in Newton, and we're addressing that issue with someone from MICA, the communication director with that organization, who deals with that in Grinnell and Poweshiek County. And so we'll find out about some of the statistics, food insecurity in Grinnell, and also how you can help out with food insecurity and those people who have to deal with that in just a couple of moments. But first, a word from our sponsors, including Grinnell State Bank with locations in Grinnell, Johnston, Marengo, and Polk City. You could get started with convenient online and mobile banking at Grinnell State Bank. Check out all their options that make banking fit into your life. You can get started opening your accounts in just 15 minutes. And if you're not sure what you need, check out Simply Banking and open your accounts online or in person at any of their 4 locations at Grinnell State Bank. Hey, I want to congratulate Brandy and the crew at B. Nicole Salon in downtown Grinnell. I had a haircut there not long ago at B. Nicole. They do a great job with reasonable prices, but the reason I want to congratulate them there is because they had a ribbon cutting with the Grinnell Chamber of Commerce not long ago too, and much to be proud of. Brandy used to do my hair at a shop in Newton, and she continues a great tradition of excellent hair cutting at B. Nicole Salon in downtown Grinnell, so check them out. And also, Who's Leading Who Dog Shop in Grinnell. If you need to have your dog trained, they do a great job. They've been in business for over a year now. They have dog boarding and dog grooming. They are your complete one-stop dog shop, building relationships between human and their dogs to be their best selves. And if you'd like more information, give them a call at 641-990-4672. That's 641-990-4672 at Who's Leading Who Dog Shop. Well, we're continuing our theme of food insecurity. We had a nice podcast with Captain Tim North of the Salvation Army Food Pantry in Newton on Monday. So I wanted to find out about food insecurity in Grinnell and Poweshiek County. So I did some dialing around and talked to the Chamber of Commerce in Grinnell and some other folks and found out about MICA. And right now I'm talking to Abra Doherty, who is with MICA, and I believe MICA covers several different counties, and I'll let her expound on that. First of all, Abra, what does MICA stand for?
Mid-Iowa Community Action.
Okay.
That is our full title.
And how many counties do you guys cover anyway?
We cover 5 main core, what we call our core counties, which are Marshall, Story, Tama, Poweshiek, and Hardin.
Okay.
But we have lots of programs that kind of extend beyond that. So some of our programs go into Jasper and Warren. Some go up to the Minnesota border. Just depends on the programs, but our core counties are those 5.
Well, I know from having spoken with Captain Tim that at least in Jasper County, food insecurity seems to be a big problem, especially over the summer months. Yep. Do you find that to be a wide-ranging problems in all the counties that MICA covers?
Yes. So some interesting things that we've seen. So we do a community needs assessment every 3 years. It's required for our funding. And our last one was in 2023. And for the first time in 11, 12 years or longer, food insecurity was the top need for every single county that we serve. So families just shared that food insecurity was a struggle. We're seeing record numbers in all of our food pantries of families needing help and record numbers of new families coming to us each month. So yeah, I would say it's a very widespread
record
concern.
numbers.
Record numbers.
Yeah. So let's talk specifically about Poweshiek County, because that's what we want to do here. Do you have some statistics as far as Poweshiek County is concerned, Abra?
Stats are kind of my jam. So since October 1st, we have served 727 households in Poweshiek County.
This is since when again?
Since October 1st.
Oh, okay, all right.
And about 1,700 or more individuals.
Okay.
But it's kind of a little bit misleading because families can come to our Poweshiek County family or food pantry twice a month. So this is unduplicated, but we could be seeing these families all twice. So we've helped that many households. And this is just under where we were at for the entire year prior. So we're going to exceed our numbers for sure. We are open. We're doing the Healthy Kids Iowa as well. So I that will bring some new families in that maybe haven't used our services before, but now will be aware. So some other stats about food. So some of our data is a little bit older, but according to Feeding America, in 2022, the cost of each meal was $3.95 per person in Poweshiek. I definitely think that's higher now if we look at food costs. And so the food stamp benefit per meal is $181. So it's not even covering, half of their needs. And in 2022, again, I think it's much higher now. Over 2,000 individuals in Poweshiek were food insecure or weren't sure where their next meal was going to come from. Poweshiek has the highest percentage in our service area, those 5 counties, of seniors living in poverty. And so that has kind of made us really kind of look into the services that we provide. Being a part of a community action is to focus on that local need and tailor it to the local need. So if you go to Poweshiek, it's going to be different than what you see in Marshall County. And so we have a grocery sponsorship program that we started about a year ago for seniors who are on a fixed income, maybe don't qualify for food stamps, or they get $25 in food stamps. That's not going to cover barely bread and eggs. And so they're able to come to our food pantry. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to jump in.
Yeah.
Is this different than the SNAP program? Because a lot of people refer to SNAP as the modern day food stamp program.
Yeah, so SNAP and food stamps are the same thing.
Okay, yeah.
They're the same. So ours is additional. So if they qualify for food stamps, but again, aren't getting enough.
Okay.
We can give them, they've been able to get a $100 gift card per month for a year to kind of offset those costs.
Okay.
We're working in our final month, so we'll get the final numbers, but beginning, information that families are sharing is they're not having to choose between their medications or going hungry. They're not overdrafting every month, trying to feed themselves. They're not, maybe they're diabetic and they're not having to eat, junk food because it might be a little bit cheaper what they can get, so they can really tailor to what they need. So it is a huge issue, and I think it just continues to grow. And so changes, to SNAP and Medicaid could really affect families even more so.
Well, I'm sure. So let's talk about why the need is so great. Can you expound on that, Abra?
I think there's so many different factors. It's hard to pick one, So the cost of food, I think, is always going to be an issue. The other, some other stats that I have, that at least a quarter of Poweshiek residents are cost burdened by their home costs. So that means 30% or more of their income each month is going to their rent and utilities. And so if you think about, you're spending more of your income, over a quarter of your income each month on your rent and utilities, that doesn't leave enough for transportation, childcare, food. I think that really affects it as well.
And mortgage too.
Mortgage, yeah, everything. So it really, I didn't get this out of severely cost burden, which is more than 50%, but it's still an astounding number.
Sure.
So, trying to decide whether you keep a roof over your head or food in your fridge makes it hard. We also, Poweshiek also has the highest percent of families in our service area without a motor vehicle. And so that really struggles. We live in a rural place. If you don't have a motor vehicle, it makes it really hard to get from those smaller towns to the grocery store to get everything that you need. And again, living wage, if you're not being paid enough to, cover your basic needs, then that really affects it as well. So I think it's a multi-level problem.
Has the cutback on SNAP, has that had an effect on this?
So it hasn't hit yet, I would say. I mean, our numbers are growing, and there's probably lots of reasons for it. The newest things with SNAP that are just coming, in the news and stuff right now hasn't necessarily hit yet. It will, I believe, and it can affect some other eligibility for people to enroll in different programs too. So I do expect it to kind of
at some
add
point
to the program
Okay.
or to the problem. Yeah.
And Captain Tim had mentioned too, in the summer months, especially for younger people, since school is out, it plays a part in this also.
Yes, yes. So, they're going to school, they might be getting the free and reduced lunch. I didn't write that stat down, but they're getting that food at school that's already set. Parents aren't having to cover that cost. But when they're home during the summer, my kids never stop eating snacks. And I know every other kid is the same. And so trying to keep up with that is really hard. And so there used to be the SNAP, you got an extra card with benefits per month through the summer. That is switched to Healthy Kids Iowa now. And so our food pantries are participating. And so families can go get $40 per student, so ages 4 to 18, up to $40 worth of food from our food pantry. It is specific. There's eggs, some fruits, very, very healthy, nutritious options that families can utilize. But yeah.
How does MICA make sure that the food is nutritious and healthy for kids and adults?
It gets hard. We really have some, I'm going to call them guides or ideas of what we would like a food package to look like. So when you come into our food pantry, it's choice. You get to shop around like a grocery store would be. But we try to make sure the options that we have have protein, have some sort of fruit and vegetable available. And so we partner with lots of different people. And I probably can't even list all of the ones in Poweshiek, but to have fresh items, fresh produce available daily, as well as that protein and those things. So really it's connecting with the partners and the donors. And we are part of the Northeast Iowa Food Bank. So we're able to purchase food from them at a cheaper cost when they have the things available. So we kind of have a guide of what we...
Salute to Barb Prather at the Northeast Iowa Food Bank. I have done several, I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought.
No.
I've done several food drives for them. I used to work in Waterloo on the radio. So I lived on the roof of Crossroads Mall for several Thanksgivings, stuffing buses and stuffing trucks for them too. But go ahead, Abra.
That helps us in Poweshiek too.
I learned so much from them. And I know also as far as Poweshiek County, the Northeast Iowa Food Bank in Montezuma provides the food pantry in Montezuma with food also. So I don't mean to interrupt, but the Northeast Iowa Food Bank supplies a lot of areas, not just Northeast Iowa, but down into Central Iowa and East Central Iowa too. Do you, well, go ahead and finish your thought and then I have another question.
I don't even know what my thought was.
Okay. Here I am, big mouth Jamie.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you too, do you get resources from the Food Bank of Iowa also?
Yes, so the Food Bank of Iowa is very similar to Northeast Iowa Food Bank. They cover our Hardin and Story County offices.
Okay,
so they do the same thing there as Northeast Iowa does for us in Poweshiek.
Okay, great. How is MICA funded?
We are funded mostly, overall MICA, mostly federal dollars, federal grants. We have Head Start, weatherization, very specific things. Our food pantries, or our county offices that we call them, are all supplied by local donations, grants, and community support. So, or maybe the county supervisors or the city donates as well, but it's all local support. So our food pantry gets no federal dollars, gets no state dollars. It's all dependent on what we can bring in or donations, connections, grants.
So you're open to donations if people want to make a donation.
Yes.
And I talked about this with Captain Tim too. And I don't think people realize this, but it does cost for a lot of food pantries and food banks to get the food from point A to point B. Maybe you could talk about that.
We're really fortunate, Northeast Iowa Food Bank, partnering with them. They can bring it to us. We also rely on volunteers so heavily, and we have a great team of volunteers in our Poweshiek County office that can go to Walmart and Hy-Vee or any of the gas stations that are providing us with that we call food rescue. So it's that fresh food that we're able to provide to families. They're going to go pick it up. They help us unload it. They help us stock the shelves. And so without them, we would not, it would be a struggle to keep the food there and keep it going.
Okay. Abra, if people want to donate canned foods and non-perishable items in Poweshiek County, how can they go about doing that?
So they can drop it by our office. So I'm going to Monday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 4, Tuesdays, 10 to 4, or you can call and make an appointment. We can take those right there at the back door.
Do you know where the office is located in Grinnell?
Oh, yes. It is on 4th Ave.
Okay.
604. Let me just double check.
Okay.
I think it's
on 4th Avenue in Grinnell.
Yep.
Let's make sure that we get the address in case people want to drop by there.
And our Head Start classroom is there.
Yep. And don't forget to bring toiletries too. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, toilet paper's good. I know that, sanitary wipes, pull-ups, anything that you can think of in terms of stuff that you might use in the bathroom for hygiene. Soap is good also. But, canned goods, non-perishable items, always very, very important. If you have fresh meat that you can donate, a lot of times, and I don't know whether this is the case with MICA, but I know at the Salvation Army in Newton, they do have coolers there. You can bring those by also. But anything, green beans, anything with protein in them. I brought by chili beans as a donation to the Salvation Army Food Pantry in Newton too. Anything with protein. Peanut butter is also very important too. So Abra, what's the address for that?
It is 611. I was a couple numbers off. 611 4th Ave in Grinnell.
Okay.
And yeah, you were right. Any of those things really make such a difference. That stuff's expensive too. And we've had farmers too donate, they have a bajillion tomatoes. We'll take those fresh items. We can give those to families. So we have our food box that families can get twice a month, which is 3 to 5 days-ish of non-perishable foods. And then we have our food rescue, which is available daily, and families can come and get what they need every day for that as well.
So tell us about the difference between the twice monthly food pickup that people can get and the Healthy Kids program. Are they the same, or are they two different entities?
They're two different things. They're two different things. So the Healthy Kids Iowa is very specific food that gets brought to us for this very specific purpose. Families have to have children 4 to 18, and they can get that once a month. Whereas our food box, they can combine. So they could get a Healthy Kids Iowa and 2 food boxes, our normal food pantry boxes, a month. So technically they get 3 boxes, but they are very different, and our normal food pantry boxes are more non-perishable, whereas the Healthy Kids Iowa seems to have more perishable or fresh items as well.
If someone listening wants to get in on this and they are food insecure and they're trying to provide for their family, how would they go about doing that in Poweshiek County?
They can stop by our office again Monday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 4, and then Tuesday, 10 to 4. They can stop. They can give us a call at 641-752-7162. Follow the prompts for Poweshiek Food Pantry, and they'll get you connected and hooked up. We can do some deliveries as well. So if you're really, just struggling, give us a call, and we'll help you get set up.
One more time, the hours there and the address.
All right. So Monday, Thursday, Friday from 9 to 4. Tuesday, 10 to 4. And the address is 611 4th Ave in Grinnell.
Okay, anything else you want to add? We have a wide-ranging audience that listens to us because, again, we've talked to Captain Tim and to you about the food insecurity problem, and people don't realize how bad it is out there. I know that Captain Tim and his co-captain, his wife, Peggy, talked about it at our Newton Rotary Club several months ago, before you started hearing about it with the SNAP program. And I think inflation has played a big part in that. And so anyway, the floor is yours, Abra, if you want to say anything else about this.
I would just like to share that MICA, we're kind of a wide range of services. And so maybe you come into us for food insecurity. But really, we want to get to know you and be able to connect you with any services that you might qualify for with us or other communities. So just when you come in, share with us kind of what's happening. We have our WIC program, which is nutrition assistance as well. We have some energy assistance some of the time right now. Crisis assistance is a little bit hit or miss, but in the winter, we have energy assistance that goes.
Yeah, I was going to ask about
Yeah.
that because I was kind of confused
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know whether MICA did that or that was a LIHEAP program because I've heard
yeah.
both and I didn't know whether to throw that one at you or not.
That's where we struggle at MICA is because we are so many different things. So LIHEAP is a program that MICA delivers.
Oh, I see.
So we're
Okay.
kind of the same. Just like Head Start is a MICA program. So it's a federal grant of Head Start, but it's through MICA. We have where we provide those services. So yeah, LIHEAP, it goes from November through April.
Okay.
And then in the summer, as funding allows, we have some crisis assistance. So if you're behind on your bill or have a disconnect, you can get a hold of us. And if we are able to, we can help.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hate to bug you about this, but one more time with
No,
Poweshiek
that's
County.
okay. I'm going to have it memorized now.
Okay.
All right. So you can come see us at 611 4th Ave in Grinnell. Our hours are Monday, Thursday, Friday from 9 to 4 and Tuesdays 10 to 4.
Okay. Well, as I said to Captain Tim, and I know that, MICA doesn't have the religious affiliation that the Salvation Army has, but they have a thrift store there, and I'm going to say something kind of religious-like here as we close. But Jesus said that if you clothe the naked, you've clothed me, and if you fed the hungry, you fed me. So, think about that. If you're wanting to make donations, if you have something in your cupboard, bring it to MICA in Grinnell. Help out however you can. If cash is burning a hole in your pocket,
Right.
you have some extra cash to give it to MICA. Help them out. Help out the hungry because food insecurity is a huge problem. You don't always hear about it. People who have that problem, they don't want to talk about it.
Right.
It's a matter of
stigma.
pride. It is a stigma, and they only reach out when they really need to, and the need is great right now, and so that's why we did a couple of podcasts on that.
Yeah.
And Abra's been a real sweetheart because I just contacted her this morning. Well, I contacted some people in Grinnell this morning. They contacted her, and she said, "Yeah, I think I can fit you in this afternoon."
Yes.
So I road tripped up to Marshalltown and got lost.
Yeah, I was going to say, I sent you on a little bit of a goose chase.
But it was fun. I love touring Marshalltown. It's one of my favorite towns. But we had a good time, and thank you so much for making time for me, Abra.
thanks for
I appreciate
having
it, and bless your heart for all the things you do.
Thank you.
You and
Thank
your
you.
folks
I
here,
appreciate it.
you're doing
for
great
sharing
work.
the word.
You betcha. Abra Doherty, my interview guest on Out and About with Jamie Grout. We're going to do a shortcast video here in just a moment. Check it out. But check out MICA in Grinnell. She's repeated the address and also the phone number and the hours that they're open many times. You can play this back over and over again if you need some help or if you want to make a donation. In the meantime, you take care. We'll talk to you later. Until next time, Grout is out. See ya.